Yes, we're live. We are live on both. Yay! Well done. Over to you then, Lucy.
Yeah. Welcome. Hopefully we are live on both, so everyone who wants to see us can see us.
Yay!
Tonight will be our second MbM live chats, and we are going to be talking to two wonderful members from our Woking Community Choir. We've got Lorraine and we've got Jean. It's very exciting to have them here. I feel like after the first one we did the other night, hopefully this one, it's like we kind of know what we're doing now, me and Em, which is good.
Okay.
So I am project manager for the virtual Christmas concert that will be on Saturday, the 12th of December at 7 o'clock on YouTube. Very excited. Jean and Lorraine are rocking their t-shirts from the from the project. And Em, of course, is the founder and director of Motivation by Music.
Yay.
So we will be asking Jean and Lorraine some questions that we've prepared, but also feel free to put some questions on Facebook or Instagram, and we will be monitoring, hopefully, both of them, so we can see your questions. But yeah, we're gonna get going. Over to you, Em.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so yeah, just in case you see Lucy and I looking down or fiddling with things, we're just trying to interact with everyone who's watching. So hi Josh, hi Maggie on Instagram, hi Bill, hi Mavis on Facebook. It's really good to have you guys with us. So Lorraine and Jean, so awesome to have you guys, and we're really excited to hear a little bit about you and a bit about your journeys with Woking Community Choir. So the choir actually started only in January 2020. So January we did some taster sessions. February we officially launched. March we went into lockdown and we went onto Zoom and we went online. So we've had quite a crazy journey. We've only existed as a choir in 2020, and what a whirlwind it's been. So Lorraine, tell us, when did you join the choir?
Yes, I came to one of those taster sessions in January. I think it was luck, really, because I seemed to be signed up for something with Woking Council on the internet, and I got a notification about it. And I don't live too far from Moorcroft, which is where it was being held. And I thought, well, I can walk there. That's good exercise as well. And I think I was wanting a new challenge, and I thought, well, give it a go, get your courage together and go. And I liked it and I kept going. And then, as you say, we were coming together. And then all of a sudden, I think we were going to give a performance in Guildford somehow. And then it all got called off. And then, of course, everything got called off. But then we've gone on Zoom. So really, it's all good.
Absolutely. So yeah, so a founding member you are, Lorraine, which is absolutely incredible. And we're so lucky to have you, which is great. Jean, when did you join us?
I was the same, actually. I joined in the introductory sessions in January as well. I actually saw the choir advertised in a local magazine that came, and it just seemed to fit the bill exactly for what I wanted. And right from the word go, coming to that first one, it just felt absolutely right. It was such a lovely warm feeling as you came to begin with. Rose was very welcoming when we came, and obviously I was delighted to see you there because I'd come across you when I tried another choir a little bit earlier on, which didn't actually work out, but I knew then that I was going to be in very safe hands, yes.
Oh, that's so wonderful. So great to have both of you join us there. So I did want to say that just Woking Community Choir is actually in partnership with Woking Borough Council, which is why Lorraine heard about it by being connected there, which is awesome. All right, over to you, Lucy.
So we had a bit from Lorraine just then about kind of why she wanted to be a part of this. But for you, Jean, what specifically drew you to being part of the Woking Community Choir?
Well, I've always liked to have a challenge, and I've always tried new things. But for most of my life, I would say it's been doing sport or doing dancing, which are my two main loves. But I've always carried with me in my heart an experience of I had or over 60 years ago when I was a child, and I actually joined an entertainment troupe, which, believe it or not, was called Trixie Norton and the Starlight Parade. And in that entertainment, which is a weird and wacky name, but that's what we were called. And we all did all sorts of things. I did chorus dancing and singing. I did an acrobatic routine, but I also did a trio performance with two of my friends, and we were called the Starlight Trio. And we sang songs of the time. And at that time, it was like the Everly Brothers. And I can remember the tingles that went down my spine when we hit harmony. And I just loved that experience, and it stayed with me. And so obviously, as I've gone on in life, I've done other things, but I really, really wanted to get back to join a choir. And that was my inspiration, really. At the start of 2020, I thought, this is the year I'm going to join a choir and really give it 100%. And that's what I've done.
Oh,
so awesome. Love it.
So wonderful. Yeah, that is. It's so lovely to hear how everybody has different kind of reasons or motivations to want to be a part of a choir. For me, it was also from, being young. My mum was a part of a gospel choir. So I kind of grew up listening to gospel music, hearing my mum learn these harmonies. And then I get to university and I meet Em, and she's doing a gospel choir. And I'm like, yeah, I want to give this a go. So we all have those kind of special connections, which is lovely.
Yeah.
So Lorraine, what was your first experience of attending the choir rehearsal, that taster in January? How did it go?
Well, it must have gone all right because I'm still here. Put me
Amazing.
off completely, oh, dreadful. No. Well, I have to say that what Jean said makes me feel terrible. It sounds like she was ABBA back in those days, and I can't claim anything like that. I have never, ever, ever, ever been in a choir, not at school, not anywhere. All I can remember was we had a very nice music teacher who was quite a character called Miss Wallace, and I believe she's still around in her 90s. Wow. And she used to get us to sing something all together as the whole school for speech day. And the thing I only remember, this is the only thing I really have a memory about singing, is singing the Hallelujah chorus. And it was really wonderful, actually, I have to say. And I remember her saying, we had to do it at speech day. And then the very next day was the end of term. And we all sang it in assembly. And I remember her turning round and looking at us and saying, why didn't you sing it like that yesterday? And we'd obviously, Emily probably would recognise this, we'd obviously done a lot better just in the hall than we had done in front of all the dignitaries and the parents the other day. So that's a vivid memory, but I've never done anything about it since then. I guess I have to say there's probably a little bit of a Mr. Malone factor in it, that he seems to have publicised that you can just go along with no experience and sing. It's scary, and I was very scared when I went along. I think if there'd been an audition, I would never have gone. But the fact that you seem to be able to turn up and just have a go was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Just have a go, not, whatever the consequences of it, just have a go and see if you actually enjoyed it and could do it, even in some fashion, and not necessarily be expected to be of such a standard. I have a friend who joins choirs that are very high standard, and I could never hope to match that, nor would I want to. But it was that fact, I think, that took me there. And I thought, will I feel really about it? But it soon became clear that although there were people there from your other choirs, and there were other people who I might call lapsed choir people, they might have been in one years before, but they hadn't been for a while. And it didn't seem so scary. And somebody said, oh, I think you're a soprano, go and sit over there. Right, that was okay. And it wasn't just me. And then we got into these fun things that you do with us. And by the end of the session, you were singing something. And it seemed quite amazing that you could do that. And that's kind of what I wanted to have happen. And there's wasn't even a commitment to actually keep going. If you couldn't make a week, well, you couldn't make a week, but you'd pick it up again. And it was just fun. And I got to admit, I still had to kind of go on, don't just stay at home, even if it's training, just go and you'll enjoy it when you're there. And I did. So it fulfilled that need. And I would encourage anybody else who thinks they even have that sort of a need in them, even if they don't really recognize it, to have a go. And I would encourage people to do it now on Zoom, because it is honestly, I think, would be a lot less scary than having to make yourself turn up in person. There used to be a famous slogan for a film, I believe, which was, "In space, no one can hear you scream." Well, on Zoom, nobody hears you sing. So you are so safe. You know, you can jig around, you can sing, close the door if you've got anybody else in the house. Nobody hears. If for people who don't know how it works, you cannot sing together, can you, Emily? It just doesn't work with the time lag. It's a bit like singing from the moon. So by and large, we're singing ourselves and joining in with Emily and the music, but nobody usually hears what you're doing and nobody sees you. When I'm doing a virtual one, I'm looking at Emily, and I guess I'm vain enough to occasionally be looking at myself to see what I'm doing. But although I'm aware of other people, I'm not thinking, oh, what's she doing? Or what's he doing? Or the rest of it. So it's quite safe. So honestly, if there is anybody out there, this is your moment. Give it a go. And then if you enjoy it, and when hopefully next year we get back to doing it in person, you won't feel so scared and you can come along and do it.
Wise words, Lorraine, wise words.
Thank you, Lorraine. Yeah, I think there's probably quite a few people out there who need to hear that. How about you then, Jean? What was that first experience for you? And obviously Lorraine was talking about some of the fun things Emily does in in-person rehearsals. I mean, I know what that is, but do you want to divulge what she got you to do on your first time?
Well, I would say my main ambition was just to sing in a choir and sing in harmony. And I thought, oh, well, I'm going along, that's what I'm going to do. But I realized very, very quickly that it was the whole package. It was so much more than that. I mean, Emily really worked hard to make us all interact and make everything fun. And it's I mean, I went on my own and I didn't know a soul. That's why it was so lovely to see Emily at the front, because at least she was a familiar face. But I think everyone just sort of, we were a hodgepodge of people, but we seemed to form a community very quickly. And it was just lovely to be part of that, because it wasn't expected. I thought I'd be singing, I'd come, I'd sing, I'd go home, and so on and so forth. But it was so much more than that, and that made it very, very special for me.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. So so we've spoken a bit about the kind of in-person rehearsals. So that's kind of January, February time. And then Lorraine, you alluded to, you know, that we might have had a performance coming up. So I think that was there was a special guest. So I'm still not sure that we can divulge the information, but there was a special guest visiting Guildford, and Motivation My Music had been invited to put on a bit of a performance. So we saw it as an opportunity to get some of our brand new Woking Community Choir members to join with the other choirs and perform. Lorraine, were you going to take part in that? And if so, how did that feel, going straight into a performance really early days?
I ummed and ahed. I don't think I said yes straight away, but I think, I won't say you twisted my arm, but I thought, And this rather plays into how I'm feeling about the virtual concert and what made me personally decide to do it. And I'm not knocking anybody else who, for various reasons, decided they weren't doing it. For me, we did do one virtual performance, the first one, and I didn't take part in that, too scared. But I sort of thought to myself, come on, girl, you can't really, for me, call myself part of the choir if I had an opportunity to perform and I didn't take it. And that's what made me, in the end, decide I should take part in the Christmas one. Oh. So that's how it worked for me. We were going to do it sort of in real terms, and then we didn't. And then I ducked out when I shouldn't have done. Too scared. So I couldn't do it again. So I'm really looking forward to see what you do with this. I was very scared doing that as well, but and I'm hoping though that I'm getting less scared. So when we do a real one again, then I hope I won't be quite so scared. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So it's been a real journey for you. You know, had that opportunity to do a performance in person, a little bit scary. Then I think it was around July time 2020, we decided to do a virtual choir performance. So our debut performance as a choir was virtual, of Make Your Own Kind of Music, and you said you felt a bit scared to do that. Then I think we had the opportunity to be involved in the charity single for Parkinson's that all of the choirs joined together with, potentially, which was Spring of Life, which was released in July. But then you took part in our virtual Christmas concert, and I'm so glad that you have. It's so awesome. So, Jean, is that a similar story for you? Did you have reservations about being in a performance so early on?
Well, I can remember when you suggested to us all that we should join in with the Guildford thing, and you asked me personally if I was going to do it, and I said to you, "Oh no, I don't think I'm good enough." And then within 2 minutes, you got all the choir quiet, and you said, "Right, now I want to tell you all, whatever you're like, you are all good enough." And then it was almost as if it was like, I don't know, it shook me up a little bit, and I thought, well, okay, it means we've got to learn 3 new songs very, very quickly, but why not have a go? So I actually did sort of stick my neck out and say, well, yes, I would do that. And I loved learning those 3 gospel songs. I absolutely loved them. So I was, by the time we couldn't do it, I was quite gutted that we weren't able to perform them. But like Lorraine, I didn't do the first virtual performance, but that was because all my equipment was so old-fashioned, and despite begging my nephews and everyone, please find a way I can do it, I just couldn't do it. So I missed that virtual performance, but decided then that I'd have to just upgrade my phone, and so that I was ready for the next one.
Yeah.
So pleased to say that I was able to take part in the virtual Christmas concert too, and I was delighted to do that.
Yeah, brilliant, so good. And Lorraine, how have you found? So for the virtual performance, you have to record your voice on some sort of device like a phone, and then you have to record your video and send that in, and then you have to transfer quite a large file to me. How did you get on with the technical aspect of doing that performance for the concert?
Well, I'm absolutely useless at technology. I am a technology dinosaur. If you can be pre-Jurassic, then I'm definitely that. I don't know what that would be, but I'm definitely that. I do not, by choice, have a phone that does any of these things. So we are limited more to what I can do on this computer. And fortunately, however, my husband knows a bit more about it than I do. And our son is studying computer science at Leeds University. So although he's at a distance, was able to give me some good advice. But I have to say, recording the sound was the scariest thing I've ever done, because when we sing along with you, or even when we sing along with the backing tracks, you hear that noise and you don't hear yourself so much. You're part of the whole thing, like you are in a real choir. But worse than actually doing a performance, unless you're doing a solo, is when you have to record the voice for this, you are listening to the music, just yourself in your ear, but you are making the sound into silence. Which is not so bad when you're doing it. It's when you play it back that you suddenly think, do I really sound like that? Oh gosh, I didn't do that right, did I? And oh, and that's very, I think the word is exposing.
Yeah.
And it is, it really is. And I don't think I was ever satisfied with what I came up with, but you did give very clear instructions, and your conducting videos absolutely wonderful, and so you do feel as if you're part of the choir, but it's just when you do the playback you think, oh my goodness, that's probably the first time you're actually hearing what you sound like. And if you sang in a choir live, you probably wouldn't hear what you're sounding like, because you've got all the people around you as a sort of support network, and you don't hear yourself. So actually that one aspect of it, I think, must be worse than what it would be to sing live. So sorry, Emily, but it is, honestly.
It's an experience, isn't it? And what do I always say is that when you record it and there's no processing, there's no reverb, there's no pitch correction, there's no track, there's no other voices, it feels like your voice is butt naked.
Yes.
And I always promise you, I won't leave you naked. I will clothe you beautifully and put you together. And as a choir, we sound incredible together. So I think it is really scary. But all of this is it's an experience, isn't it? And you learn from it, and you get to develop a kind of confidence and an understanding of your own voice, which I think is a really, really beautiful thing. So thanks for sharing that. Lucy?
So obviously going into lockdown so soon in your journey of being a part of the choir meant that your kind of experience, should I say, of choir is probably quite different to most, but also having the choir during lockdown must have been, you know, quite an amazing thing to have. Everything else is shut and all you have is choir, you know, and that's where you get to see people's faces and this kind of thing. But for you, Lorraine, so I keep getting you muddled up. Sorry. It's on your screen, I'm looking and talking to the wrong person. I'm like, where are you? Sorry. So Jean, for you, what was your favourite memory of lockdown? So where you know, something that really stands out for you, being online in the rehearsals or something like that.
Well, first of all, I think it's the choir's been a lifesaver for many of us, because certainly from my point of view, my husband and I have been more or less in virtual lockdown for the whole of the time, and any reaching out to the wider community has been wonderful. But that hour when we're with Emily is so much more than just singing. It's there's so many aspects that come into it. You know, we chat, and Emily always very gently makes us aware of spiritual things, which is, I think, is lovely. It's a wonderful experience, and if I'm not there on the day of the practice, is always a very good reason, but I've tried to attend all of them. But if you ask for a standout moment, obviously we're all sitting in our little boxes and we're all doing a duet with Emily, and we're going along, and as Lorraine says, we can sing as loud as we like and everything. And on one occasion, and I don't know if Emily can remember this, she sort of threw caution to the wind, and we'd all been practicing our harmonies and thinking of it from Emily's point of view. We hear her, but she doesn't hear anybody. And then she just suddenly said, right, I'm going to take the mute off everybody, and I just want you all to go for it and sing your part. And it was like a glorious explosion of voices and harmonies, all out of sync, and it was and then suddenly it just all sort of subsided again. And it was like we were all saying, we're all here and we're all doing our stuff, Emily, don't worry, we're all doing it. And then obviously she put the mute back on and we went back to normal sort of class.
I love that.
But it was, to me, that it made me think, actually, because it opened my eyes to what it must be like for Emily doing the classes, because obviously she doesn't hear us, and as I say, we're all comfortable listening to her and singing along with her. And I thought, we really, well, I felt anyway, I thought, I don't give her enough feedback. So when Emily now says do the actions, I make sure I do all the big actions, because I think that's feedback. I made a promise to myself, and I think I've kept it up to now, that if she asks for volunteers from the tenor department and nobody else volunteers, I'm going to volunteer, because that's me giving back to her. And I thought,
yes,
it's, you know, what have I got to lose? I'm either going to be okay or I'm going to be rubbish. And if I'm rubbish, that's going to encourage everyone else to think, well, if Jean can do it sounding like that, I'll do it next time. So there's nothing to lose. And hopefully that's giving more interaction for Emily. I hope so anyway.
Amazing, amazing. And Jean, you have been absolutely incredible. I can actually, vouch for that you have been amazing, and you've made me feel so like I'm not alone in a little shed, that I've got people and I'm interacting with. But Jean, one of my favorite memories was when you brought a famous friend along to rehearsal. You remember that?
Give me a clue.
I think it was it Gary Barlow just suddenly?
Oh, I love it.
Well, yes, there is a good reason for that, and I've got a lot to thank Gary Barlow for, because when Take That became very famous, my daughter was going through her teenage years, and she loved Gary Barlow so much, she'll kill me for saying this, that no one else was really important. So I think that my daughter's formative years, when she could have been led astray, she wasn't, because she was saving herself for Gary. So when my son actually saw that Gary Barlow thing and gave it to her. So I mean, both my son and daughter live elsewhere now, but it's in my daughter. I normally do my Zoom in my daughter's room, and Gary's there ready for her whenever she comes. But she'll kill me for saying that.
It's a life-size cutout. And for a moment, I was singing away, leading choir, and then I looked at Jean's screen. I was like, "It's Gary Barlow there." I couldn't tell if it was real or not.
Amazing. I love that. And to be honest, the one thing, because I've been a part of one of the choirs recently online, and Em is so good at making you feel like she can hear you, that sometimes I think, wait, she's like, good job, blah, blah, do this, and I'm like, wait, she can hear me? it's so good. And I think that's something that I really appreciate, you saying that, Jean, about the feedback and stuff. I think Em goes so above and beyond to make everybody feel connected. But yeah, then there's that kind of responsibility to give back and not shy away when she asks the question, and everyone's just kind of sat there like, don't pick me. Yeah, don't worry, we all know.
It is a hard thing to do, because I think we're naturally all reserved, and especially when you're on your own, you're in a little room on your own, and she's asking for, and you think, oh, I can't do it, someone else offer. But it is our opportunity to integrate the group, I think, and as I say, to give feedback, for better or worse.
Definitely. Lorraine, what was your favourite or standout moment over lockdown?
I can't pick one, but I think Emily will know. I love the singing, and I don't think I've got a good voice, but I know that it's got better. And the other week we had one of Emily's songs that we were practicing, the one before we're learning at the moment, and I didn't know it before. I think you're amazing to write and produce these songs. They're incredible. And I often start off thinking, oh, I don't know. And then usually I absolutely adore them. And I love that after the second week, when the session finished, I went downstairs, and quite obviously without music, I just sang it all through to my husband. And he was quite impressed, and I was quite impressed with myself. So that was amazing. So the singing is great, but I think, Emily, I love the warm-ups. I have such fun. It's just so funny. We dance around, we follow Emily, we sing back to Emily. She comes up with these mad little ditties. So I think one of the two standout moments, I love the song that goes, and I would walk 500 miles. And we did that a few times, and we do have to march along, and I absolutely adore that one. And also, I think it was surreal that right at the beginning of September, we were coming up with all Christmas ditties and things right that early, and it felt really weird because we had to start learning the Christmas ones then. So those two really stand out, but it is such a lot of fun. If we never actually sang anything, I'd still come along just for the warm-ups, because they are so funny, and you just feel free to just do what you want. Nobody cares. It's just fun. It's pure fun, that part. And yet it is good for you, because you can tell that afterwards you do sing a lot better for it. So thank you, Emily, for all the fun. It really is.
Oh, thank you.
We might have to get Em to record some of her great warm-ups so that the general public can hear. My personal favorite is the fa la 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 one, where she call and response is just hilarious and so cleverly written. I mean, you're an amazing songwriter, Em, but these are great and very memorable.
Yeah.
It's just been so wonderful chatting to you both. Thank you so much, Lorraine and Jean. Honestly, it's just been a joy, and I really hope for anyone watching that they were able to get so much from what you said, because I think it's so important, especially with everything that's going on, to be a part of something. And yeah, virtual choir is just a great thing to do. So for anybody who's been watching, thank you, and we're gonna say good night.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.